There are many old Obsidian videos here in the channel that are a little bit messy because I'm trying to figure out things and I decided to share it with you. I like to share my progress with you. But now that I'm happy with the setup I came up with, I think it's time to start showing you the real things, how I'm using it, how I'm happy with what I have today. So the first thing I think it's important to show you is how I'm using templates, which templates I'm using, because this was the hardest part. I changed it so many times. I tried so many options here, and then I simplified everything. So let's take a look at that. And I'll also show you why I'm using adding today's date to the beginning of each file. So it's related. So here we are back to my second account, the one I use to record the videos. But the structure, I'm trying to make this structure as close as possible to what I have on my real account. So let's go to the static containers where my templates are. And these are exactly the same templates I have on my real account. I copy it and paste them to this account. So I have this one here that I call pure. It's a simple, it's just that. It's a blank. There is no properties, nothing. Sometimes I need this, especially when I'm working on my book. If I create a new file on Obsidian, a markdown file on Obsidian, I don't want that file with the properties. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please go watch this other video. You'll to understand how I synchronize Scrivener and Obsidian. So this is specifically for that, okay? Then I have blog post. This one, I'm not really completely happy with it, but it has everything that I need to publish on Obsidian Publish. I have alias, permalink, description, cover. All this are Obsidian Publish properties. We'll get to a video about Obsidian Publish, but I'm still finalizing the last details. I don't want to share an incomplete video with you, so we'll get there. But anyway, this here are parts of our properties that I use on blog posts. And as you can see, all the other ones are similar, if not the same, to this one here, new note, which is the one I use for almost everything. So apart from blog posts and book entries, which are these two other ones here, this is the one I use everywhere. Okay, so it has everything I need. The title here is here because sometimes I want to use characters that are not supported by Obsidian, the file name. So let's create a new one here. So create a new node. As you see, it creates the node with that template because that's the one I usually use. So let's say I want to create, okay, this is a new node, and I want to use a column which is not supported. So if I do this, I get that message. So that's why this title is here. So sometimes I do something like this, and that's why I have the title property, blah, 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 blah. So some people don't like when I do this. Okay. Okay, so then I can copy this here and add it here. But here's where we need to start talking about adding the date to the beginning of each file. Having separate files, node files and files to to put inside nodes is something that at the same time I always loved on Obsidian, but always almost hate on Obsidian, because you have to pay attention to that, because the file is not inside the node, it's just a link. And one thing I was always afraid of happening was losing a connection. Let's say I delete a link by accident. How am I going to find that again? What is the way, how can I create a structure that will help me find that again? So that's why I came up with this. There's two reasons for the date. This is the first one. So I always add the date like this. So let's add today's date here. I don't add it here because this is just the title. Okay, so I add it here. And each file that I create today or for this post, today being the 20th, we'll have this in the beginning of the file title. Okay, and this will help me find that, because I can filter by the date and find that. I've shown that in other videos. However, there's another reason. Because I imported so many documents and information from Evernote, it works most of the time, but I couldn't figure out a way to create the notes here with the same creation date I had in Evernote. So instead of filtering this by created, I'm filtering it by file name Z to A. So now if I have this, the date like this, inverted year, month, and day, it's like I have create notes filtered or ordered by creation date. So that's the purpose of having the date in front of all the files that I have in Obsidian. There are many old files, but every time I come across a file that doesn't have this, and when I say file, I mean notes and every other type of file, PDFs, images, everything. So when I come across one of them without the date, I add the date. I change the name, adding the date. Okay. If it's a file, something like this, I change this to the creation date and do something like this. Okay, and that's it. So all of them will have this number, which is the date, in front of them. Let's pretend this one it was taken today. So let's pretend this was 1 and 20 here. So if I add this, let's add it here now. And for some reason, I accidentally delete this. It's not so hard to find it, because I can look for this date here, filter by this date here. So I can do something like this, file, and add the date in front of it. So I'll see all the files that have that date, and I can quickly figure out which one is the one related to this note. Okay, now let's take a look at the other properties I have here. This one here, the date, it is created automatically by that code. Let me show you how to do that. So new note, let's go to the source mode here. Whoops, source mode. So if you add this to the template, every time you create a note, it will add today's date to that note. So this is what happened here. That's why we have today's date. Now, this date here is the creation date of the note. It can be different to this one here, because this one here, if this is a post, a blog post, for example, it will have the day I posted. So let's say I had the idea for this, I don't know, 10 days ago. This would be 10/1/2025, and let's say I'm posting today, it will be 2025/1/20. So the dates can be different. So this is the creation date, okay? Then we have here URL. This I was using for the older system I used to publish my blog. I may change this to Permalink, which is the name Obsidian Publish uses for the links. I'm still thinking about that, because it's not really a permalink. I like URL, for example, for the clippings. When I clip something, it will add the link here. Of course, you can add to the permalink, but I'm still thinking, because URL and permalink are different things. Okay. And talking about the web clipper, I create those properties everywhere I can. If you haven't watched my video about the web clipper, you can watch it here. I explain all this here in more detail, but you can create a template there, and this is what this is. And as you can see, this is exactly the properties I have on my default default template on Obsidian. And here, title will add the title of that note, which is the title of the blog post or the site I'm clipping. The date will grab the date using that format, year, month, and day, and the URL will grab the URL of what I'm clipping. So everywhere I can, I create this same structure, the same note that will be clipped or will be added to my Obsidian using this template. But here's another one, tags, clippings. So if I need to filter, find all the notes that were created using Obsidian Web Clipper, they will all have this clippings tag. Okay, back to Obsidian. Locations is for the maps plugin. There's a video about that plugin here. I'll record another one because I changed some details, but if you're curious, you can watch that one. If you want to add a location to a single location to the entire node, it has to be location in the singular, okay? And if you want to add several locations to the node in the body of the node here, it has to be locations. Because I usually do the second one more, I'm creating the node with locations. So every time I want to add a location to a node, I have to change this as and make it, delete this as and make it location. Okay, value is just a number. I can use it for anything. It's based on context. For example, if I create a node for my runs, for a run I did when I jog, I'll add here the kilometers I did, and that's it. I know that that's about how many kilometers I ran because it's a running node. If it's a client, I can add the value here, what was paid for that consulting, whatever it is, I'll add it here, and it's easy to understand what that value means because the title and what the note is will help me quickly figure it out. I added this here because there's this idea for the future on Obsidian's roadmap to be able to add values, not values, but data from the properties to a table. I want that so bad, but it's taking so long. But I added this here just preparing myself for that moment so I can create, let's say, a table with all my runs and the dates and everything and the kilometers I run each day. I know that that's possible with Dataview, but I'm trying to avoid this more complex and sophisticated plugins because I want to keep Obsidian, my data here, as raw as possible so I can access it from other places. Okay, that's why I'm not using Dataview or some more the tasks plugin and other plugins. That's not to say that you should not use it. It's just how I feel about it. Okay, type is the type. There are some wrong entries here because this is a test account, but type is the type of what this node is. So is it a blog post? Is it a collaboration, itinerary, and so on? This is just to help me filter. Again, I don't want to use the data view, so I can use the search here to add an entry that will show me all the nodes that are itinerary nodes and that has all the ones that have a specific tag. Okay, and the same here is for people. This is where I add people, family, friends, so everyone that is related to this node, and tags. So let's use one tag here, AI, and let's say blog. So I can filter now all the nodes that have blog as a type, that I am part of that node, and that all the ones that have the AI tag on it. So I can do that using the search. So that's why I created this 3 types of categorization here. So this is how I'm using templates, and these are all the properties I use. The one I may change in the future is this one here, and I also want to figure out a way to make both. Where is it? The blog post, because this is too long. So I'm not sure. Maybe I'll use only this one here because sometimes when I post something, I add the location. Obsidian Publish doesn't see and doesn't understand that location, that property. It doesn't understand value, type, people. But again, if I want to filter all the notes I have about that topic, I don't care if those notes are a blog post or if they are a single note. I want to see all of them when I filter those notes. And if someone is filtering that on the website side, of course, I don't want them to see the other information, but they won't because Obsidian Publish doesn't use this for anything. So maybe I'll end up with this giant property here just because I prefer to have a single property that will help me do everything I want to do with when I create a node. Expect more videos like this explaining how my setup works after all that crazy videos from the past where I was trying and experimenting things. Now I'm pretty happy with the direction, with my goal. So expect more videos like this one. And if this is something you would like to see more, please subscribe to the channel. And if this one was helpful, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. If you want to help even more, please consider supporting my work on Patreon or YouTube. Thanks for watching. See you soon.